Most new dog owners make the same mistakes. Not because they are careless, because nobody told them. Because the information available to new owners is either overwhelming or incomplete. Because well meaning advice from experienced owners is often contradictory. And because the first 30 days with a new dog is the period when the most consequential decisions are made with the least information. The decisions made in those first 30 days do not just affect the first month. They set up the relationship, the behavior patterns, and the emotional baseline that everything that follows is built on. Getting them right is not about being a perfect owner. It is about avoiding the specific, common, correctable errors that cost months of work to undo, when a little information at the right moment would have prevented them entirely. 9 mistakes. In order of when they typically appear across those first 30 days. The first is overwhelming her with attention and activity in the first week. She arrived and the household responded. Everyone wanted to meet her, hold her, interact with her. The first days were full of new people, new experiences, new stimulation, the full social and sensory richness of the household she had just entered. What she actually needed in those first days was quiet, the decompression period, the 2 to 3 weeks that behaviorists and rescue organizations consistently recommend giving a new dog before full integration, is not a suggestion. It is an acknowledgement that the nervous system of an animal arriving in a completely new environment requires time to simply register its surroundings as safe, before it has the capacity to learn anything, build anything, or settle into anything. The dog who is overwhelmed in week 1 takes longer to settle than she would have. Not because she is difficult, because her nervous system never got the quiet it needed to begin the calibration process that produces a settled dog. The second is establishing rules inconsistently, because the first days feel like a honeymoon. She is new and you are in love and the couch feels fine this one time and the begging is cute right now. And the jumping is sweet when it is a small, excited dog and you will address the rules properly once she settles in. The rules she learns in the first 30 days are not temporary. They are the first data the training-shaped part of her brain has received about this household's structure. Changing them later is not impossible. It requires overwriting established patterns, which is slower and harder than establishing the right patterns from the beginning. Decide on the rules before she arrives. Hold them consistently from day 1. Not rigidly, not harshly, consistently. The consistency is the kindness. It gives her a map she can rely on. The third is skipping crate training because it seems cruel. The crate reads to a human eye as confinement, as restriction, as something a dog should not be made to experience. And so the crate goes unused, and the new dog has the full run of the house during unsupervised periods. Chewing, eliminating, accessing spaces and objects that produce a pattern of errors that erodes the relationship before it has had time to build. A crate introduced correctly, slowly, positively, never as punishment, is not confinement. It is a den, a personal space her nervous system can designate as entirely safe, entirely hers, where no demands are made and no social management is required. Dogs who have a well-conditioned crate relationship use it voluntarily. The crate is not the cruelty. The rushed, incorrect introduction is the cruelty. Done right, it is one of the most genuinely useful tools the first 30 days offers. The fourth is expecting too much too soon from training. She has been here for 10 days and she knows sit. She knows sit in the kitchen, with your full attention on her with no distraction and a treat in your hand. This is filed as she knows sit and the expectation begins to form that she should be able to sit when asked in all the contexts where you will need her to sit. She cannot. Not yet. Behavioral learning in dogs is context-specific. The behavior learned in one environment does not automatically transfer to all environments. It transfers through deliberate practice in each new context. Expecting the 10-day kitchen sit to perform at the front door with a visitor arriving is asking for a behavior in the context where it is hardest to produce, with the history to support only the easiest version. This is the piece most owners miss entirely. Lower the expectation, build the history. The transfer comes with time and practice, not with repetition of the command in the context where it does not yet exist. The fifth is using punishment for normal exploratory behavior. She chewed something. She eliminated inside. She jumped. She barked. She did the things that dogs do when they are new to a space, under-exercised, under-stimulated, and still learning what the rules of this household are. And the response was a punishment that she could not connect to the specific behavior because the connection requires proximity in time that the punishment did not provide. Normal puppy and new dog behavior is not defiance. It is the behavioral output of an animal with needs that are not yet being met by a household that does not yet know what those needs are. The answer to most new dog misbehavior is management, reducing access to the opportunity to make the error, and enrichment, meeting the needs that were generating the behavior. Not punishment delivered into a relationship too young to absorb it cleanly. The sixth is not establishing a routine in the first week. The new owner is still figuring things out. The schedule is flexible while the household adjusts. The walk times are variable. The feeding times are approximate. The structure of the day is forming gradually. She needs the structure now, from the first week. Not a rigid schedule that cannot accommodate life, but a consistent enough framework that the major events of her day, the walks, the meals, the periods of activity and rest, arrive within predictable windows she can begin to anticipate. Behavioral observation of newly homed dogs across structured versus unstructured early environments has found measurably faster behavioral settling and lower stress indicators in dogs given consistent early routines. The routine is not for your convenience, it is for her nervous system. And the nervous system that is given predictability in the first week starts building trust in the world. It has entered significantly earlier than the one that is still waiting to understand what the day holds. The seventh is introducing her to too many dogs too quickly. She has just arrived. Her nervous system is calibrating a new environment, new people, new smells, new everything. And she is taken to the dog park or to a friend's house with multiple dogs or introduced to the neighborhood dogs on the second day. Dog-to-dog introductions require a nervous system that has enough baseline security to manage social novelty. A dog who is not yet settled into her environment does not have that security. The social overwhelm that results is not socialization. It is stress practice, repeated experiences of social situations that exceed her current capacity, which sensitizes rather than acclimates. Introduce new dogs gradually in neutral spaces when she has had enough time in her environment to have a baseline of security to draw from. 2 weeks minimum before major social introductions. More for more anxious dogs. The eighth is not starting the vet relationship in the first 2 weeks. The first vet visit should not wait until something is wrong. It should happen in the first 2 weeks as a baseline appointment to establish her current health status, to begin the relationship with the practice before it is associated with being sick or uncomfortable, and to surface any health issues that arrive with her that the owner does not yet know about. New dogs arrive from shelters, breeders, and previous homes with health histories that are partial at best. The baseline appointment is the owner's due diligence, the specific, practical step that ensures the foundation of the relationship is built on accurate health information, rather than assumptions that will be corrected eventually, ideally before they have had consequences. The ninth, the one that costs the most to correct, is confusing permissiveness with kindness. She came from somewhere hard, or she seems anxious, or the love is so large that every limit feels like a withholding, and so the limits do not arrive. The rules are soft, the boundaries are unclear, the structure is absent because it feels like the generous thing, like giving her the freedom she deserves after whatever came before. A dog without structure is not a dog who is free. She is a dog who is responsible for assessing every situation without the guidance that structure provides. A dog who does not know the rules of her environment is a dog whose nervous system cannot rest, because a world without predictable rules is a world that requires continuous monitoring. Kindness and structure are not opposites. For a dog, they are the same thing delivered in different forms. The kindness is in the consistency. The gentleness is in how the structure is held, not in whether it exists. The first 30 days set the foundation, not irrevocably. Dogs are more resilient than the mistakes made in any single month, but the patterns established in that window are the ones that become defaults. The ones that take hold before anything more deliberate has had time to take hold first. None of these mistakes require a bad owner to make. They require an uninformed one. And the difference between those two things is the information you just received. She does not need a perfect first month. She needs an honest one. Which of the 9 felt most like something you did or are doing? And is there one you wish someone had told you before you brought her home? Tell me in the comments. If this is the kind of watching you want to keep doing, subscribing means the next one finds you.